And now to our first conversation. Well, with inflation running hot globally, investors are torn on how to hedge, against inflation. We know there's been talk about gold, real estate being a great hedge, but is real estate still that hedge, for inflation? Let's talk to Dr. Stephen Akintayo now, MD, GtextHomes Holdings, joining us via Zoom. Great to have you on the program. Good morning.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
So I see, with how unpredictable the real estate market is, you are still quite bullish on that market.
Well, I'm not sure, but we're trying. Entrepreneurs, our DNA is to thrive in adversity. That's really what entrepreneurship is about. You want to do your best to continue to be optimistic and looking for solutions even in a tough season. The real estate sector in Nigeria is slowing down a bit. I don't know what numbers you guys have, but in terms of sales and people investing in that sector, we're having some slowdown, but we're positive that it's definitely going to pick up as usual.
Yeah, pick up as usual because right now, incomes are squeezed. We're seeing rate hikes globally, at this time. But let's look at some of your offerings. Now, they seem almost too good to be true, with the way inflation is going right now. How sure are you, that you can actually deliver on some of these projects?
Well, one of the key new decisions we've decided to take is to peg our property to the dollar price. A lot of construction materials used for building are imported. And, we've seen situations where some of our colleagues who peg in Naira are struggling to deliver on what they promise customers. So for us is that if you're buying a two-bedroom, for example, if the offer is $50,000, then that's what you're paying. You can always pay it in Naira, the Naira equivalent, and you know what is the balance in dollars. This way, we can be consistent. This way, we don't need to go back to our subscribers to say, hey, there's inflation. Oh, the Naira is weak to the dollar, so pay us more. And integrity is very key to business. So for us, that's a strategy that has helped us to keep, to our word. And that's the stance we're taking.
We're obviously seeing a lot of volatility, in the housing market globally. What do you foresee, in the housing sector for Nigeria?
Well, I'm already seeing, again, like I said, I'm not the Bureau of Statistics, but I'm seeing a slow trend. My argument has always been that you cannot have a real estate crash in a country like Nigeria because there's a huge housing deficit. You only have that in developed countries because they don't have deficits in some countries. And so during recession, during tough economic situations, you see a lot of people who probably used to live in big houses, having to even merge with other people and things like that. So that's why you then have those kind of bubble bust. But Nigeria has millions in housing deficit. Some data shows 20 million, some show 26, some show 10 or 15. But either way, we all agree that the deficit run into millions. And when you look at even the private sector, construction houses that we're building right now, they are not even up to millions across the country. When you look at all the federal government schemes and programs, it's not even up to a million in terms of the unit of houses being constructed. So you definitely cannot have a bust or, a crash, but you can have a slow trend in purchases because of elections, the way politicians talk, investors are scared. And mind you, major investors in the housing market are Nigerians in diaspora. They're the ones who are able to afford, this season. And they are also affected because they also earn outside Nigeria. So the issue of recession across the globe affects them, as well as what's happening in terms of their fear for the election.
All right. Well, talking about rate hikes, we've seen the Central Bank of Nigeria here. They've raised rates a lot, this year. And the last one, we got about 50 basis points, about 100 basis points actually. Not as large as the 150 we got before. How is that impacting the sector right now?
Honestly, I am personally excited about the Naira redesign, and I support that policy, but not the rate hike. I don't think so, because I feel the design of Naira is trying to achieve the same thing. And we've seen a lot of compliance, with people having to remit money to banks. And I don't think they needed to do to that volume. We can see how the U.S. Treasury has gradually, in a very slow manner, raised their own interest rates. I think we should, if we have to do that as well. But in terms of how has it affected the sector, I think it has, because, mind you, a lot of people are relying on taking loans to construct houses, and contractors also having to take loans to be able to partner with developers to execute some of this building. And if you are raising interest rates, it just affects their profit margin. It affects their overall bottom line. So for me, I'm not sure it was the right decision. But again, I'm not the CBN governor, so he has the right to make, and the people in charge of monetary policy. But it's affecting big time. But in our company, we don't take loan in the Nigerian market. In other countries that we operate, yes, we are open to that, but not in Nigeria. And for us, it's we just feel that the banking sector is not as supportive. And I've said this publicly many times. I think they are not supportive of our sector. I've seen situations where banks take over people's estates without being considerate about the other investors in that particular estate, and they just take over the entire thing. And so, seeing those kind of experience, I just decided that our company will not going to take any loan from any bank for our own construction.
Yeah, and obviously we know, the central bankers are struggling, right now, and obviously banks struggling with, non-performing loans and all of that. So that would make it a little difficult, for them also. But let's talk about green smart housing. Is that looking like a reality for Nigerian market?
Well, it is. I mean, what I think will happen, the same revolution that happened with the telecoms, where we were slow to adopt that, but I mean, Nigeria is way ahead in terms of technology, telecommunication technology, and we are more advanced. I think the same will happen. I just attended the UN Climate Change COP27 in Egypt, and that's been the conversation, adaptation, and I think Africa is ready. I mean, if you look at even what Egypt is doing, they have, housing project running to almost 30 million. You won't believe it, housing units being built. It's massive what Egypt is doing and how Egypt is trying to adapt to climate change. And I think Nigeria can be in the forefront. We are the first company to commit to building 25,000 green and smart homes in Nigeria. And we're excited that we stuck to that idea. It's expensive, because having to convert waste to biogas, rely on solar and other alternative wind energy, is not one of those easy things. So we have a 2035 goal. By the year 2035, we will have 25,000 green and smart homes, and they will be zero carbon emission. But we need money to make this happen. The last time our finance team told us it's going to cost us as much as $20 billion to do that, because we want to put a golf course, polo club, have hotels, shopping malls in those places. We still have 13 years to go. We're still at the beginning stage. But we're excited that we are a company of the future, and there's nothing wrong being ahead of everyone else.
All right, talking about what you're, looking to add, with some of these essays. Some believe that your housing solutions are for the rich and the affluent. What do you say to them?
I think they are right. Housing generally is quite expensive anywhere in the world. I think it's the responsibility of the government, as well as other institutions, to create what we call accessibility to housing. I'll give you an example. Here's a 2-bedroom. Now, when you look at the dollar price of this 2-bedroom, in anywhere in the US, let's even take Dallas, which is one of those states we operate. In Dallas, the cost of 2-bedroom is twice what you're seeing on your screen. But why is it more accessible? It's because I have 30 years to pay. I only have to bring 20% of that amount. In the UK, if I'm a first-time home buyer, I only even need to bring 10% of the amount. And I'll have the government support me with the remaining 10%, then I get a lender to give me the remaining 80%. And I have 20 to 30 years to pay back. So for me, I think housing generally, globally, is not really cheap. But what government and finance institutions have done is to make it accessible even to those who are not rich. And we have to face that reality, because part of why we have attracted quacks in our sector is because we're playing to the gallery with the conversation of, I'm just going to be cheap. I'm, affordable housing. And we all know that is not in the hands of any single developer, right, to make housing affordable in Nigeria. It's just the truth. But of course, we can keep playing that language just to make customers feel good. But the reality is that it's not in your hands if it's gone, because you are not the manufacturer of the materials, the cost of buying land. If in some cases you pay for land twice. You pay family, you pay government to get, the land perfected. So these are factors that affect the cost. And we hope government will come in to make it more accessible. But what we have now is a program that allows people to have up to 3 years. And at any point, once they've done up to 30% that they're struggling to continue, we link them up with a credible mortgage company that then supports their ability to then extend the payment from 3 years to up to 15 years. And I think that's the kind of creative concept that we are bringing to the market.
And obviously, affordable housing is very critical, right now, knowing that 133 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor, at this time. We definitely need affordable housing. But let's talk about your vision for 2035.
I will even say accessible housing, right? Because the affordable is relative, right? But can I even still access it? Even if the price is a bit higher, and then I have enough time to spread, which is what's happening all over the place.
Yeah, enough time, to spread is, also much needed too. Let's talk about your vision now for 2035. Still, a dozen years away. We've seen you, continuous expansion into other countries and continents. Do you think you'll still have a Nigerian or African face, at that time?
Absolutely. I feel that we definitely cannot achieve the vision 2035 without foreign direct investment. We need a lot of investment to do that, particularly because of the model, the concept. For example, I'll give you an example. One of the technology we've seen that we want to adopt is a machine that converts plastic to energy, right? However, that machine alone goes for over $6 million, right? And that's just to power one estate out of almost 200 estates we will have hopefully by the year 2035. So when you look at the cost implication, you definitely need a lot of foreign direct investment, even grants as well, However, for us is to say that if our success in Dubai, in UK, and US, gives a lot of these investors who are even based in this country to say, okay, we know you here. We've seen what you're doing here. So we can trust you when you say you have this big project in Nigeria and you need us to invest. And so for us, we feel that our international expansion, it gives us a lot of credibility abroad, enough to attract a lot of investors to believe in our vision and to partner with us in our Nigerian quest.
Let's talk about your offerings now, and when exactly will the promotion kick off, and how can people actually access it?
Beautiful. So we already have a lot of people who have started taking advantage, but we're doing a global virtual launch on Saturday, 10th of December, and we're inviting the general public, particular investors, to come, and we will be able to break down the offers. It's an off-plan sales. Again, like I told you, we try our best not to take loan because experiences we've had is not encouraging. And so for us, what we've done is to say, you know what we'll give you opportunity to pay us gradually. We'll mobilize to site March of 2023 and start building gradually. Those who pay outright by early 2024 will even get keys to their house. And of course, others who are paying installment for 3 years, once they are done completing their payment, they then get a key to their house. And we've made it such that we have 5 locations in Lagos. We have Abeokuta, we have Asaba, we have Abuja. So you have that option of where you want to buy, whether it's Isheri or Obudu or Ikorodu or Ibejuleki. So there is that choice. We already have normal, ready to move in, units that we currently market, and they are all over Lagos, and we're spreading to other locations as well. But those ones is you're having to pay outright because the houses is already, and you just pay fully and you move in. But this ones gives you opportunity for accessibility by flexible payment, and it also gives us enough time for us to also deliver. So a 3-year window period is a fantastic time. And what will be happening to investors is that in that 3 years, you're almost having 100% return on investment, because by the time the house is ready, the value of the property will be almost 100% what it was 3 years ago when you started paying. And remember, you had that flexible payment to pay, and it's one of the most amazing ways. And what we've also done is to have a subsidiary called GtextHomes that is able to help you rent out your apartment in the case where you are doing this for investment. So we're able to help you get tenants, and you are able to get regular cash flow. And that's really one of the major reasons why people invest in real estate, is that consistent cash flow that can keep coming in. You have tenants paying you, rent, and you're making more.
All right, Dr. Akintayo, I know at some point you're going to give me some 30-year plan. I'll be expecting that. Thank you so much, Dr. Stephen Akintayo, MD, GTEX Holdings.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it. Can I just chip in that those who want to register for the event can visit www.gtexhomes.com/1000 units. So if you want to join us for the webinar on Saturday 10th by 5 p.m., again, the site is www.gtexhomes.com/1000 units. So you can sign up, it's free. And we'll be able to give you a lot more detail about the housing unit, 1,000 housing unit, first phase of the 25,000 housing units we are doing the next 13 years.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
See you.
All right, that was Dr. Stephen Akintayo there giving us the details for the housing projects. Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll drill down on the latest developments in Nigeria's banking sector. That's in a moment. Just stay with us.